What you are about to experience is out of this world. Politics, history, and of course, a lot of entertainment. It's time to rock it with the Docket.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 100th episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. And if you are excited to be here as well, make sure to go down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so then you never miss one of my videos. Come on, it's the 100th episode. Give this video a like, share with your friends, subscribe. June 24th, 2022 will be a day that will live in American history forever, as on that day, in a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court decided that babies had a right to life, and that there was nothing in the Constitution of the United States that covered abortion, ending Roe v. Wade. As Alito made this clear in his leaked draft, which is now the law, that we talked about a few episodes ago, as he said, the Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right is implicitly protected by any constitutional provision. Along with that, he wrote, Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was explicitly weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. And far from bringing about a national settlement of the abortion issue, Roe and Casey have inflamed debate and deepened division. Now, this division that he's talking about now goes back to the individual states, where they can decide what they want to do about this abortion issue. For example, a state like California can now say that a woman can kill their babies up to the moment of birth. And a state like Texas, for example, can say if we detect a heartbeat, then abortion is murder. For both of these situations, there is nothing that the Supreme Court or the federal government can do. All of this is in line with the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, which says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So because we found out that the issue of abortion is not covered by the Constitution of the United States, the people are now able to vote for their legal representatives that will either hold that abortion is a right or hold that abortion is murder. Now, you could say that we all knew this decision was going to happen eventually because there was a draft leak. We already talked about that. The draft came from Samuel Alito, which we talked about back in episode 96 of the Dockery Docket. I read the draft, so then you didn't have to. But it goes deeper than Alito's draft, as the issue with abortion has been a conservative standpoint since Roe v. Wade was passed by a group of men in 1973. Many Republican presidents have stood up against abortion, but none of them really did anything about it until Donald Trump came into office, as this Supreme Court decision wouldn't have been possible without Donald Trump. As in 2016, in one of the debates between Trump and Clinton, Trump said this about abortion and how to end Roe v. Wade.
Want to see the court overturn. You just said you want to see the court protect the Second Amendment. Do you want to see the court overturn Roe v. Wade?
Well, if we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, will happen. And that'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life justices on the court. I will say this, it will go back to the states, and the states will then make a determination.
Now, Trump didn't predict the future, as Roe v. Wade wasn't overturned right away, as Trump said, but Trump got the ball rolling, as when he came into office, he was able to appoint 3 conservative pro-life justices that decided that it was finally time for Roe v. Wade to end. Now, this was not packing the courts. Donald Trump used his constitutional power to assign new judges. Judges retired, judges passed away, he added new ones. Packing the courts means that there's 9 justices and you're adding more, which is what the Democrats want to do now that Roe v. Wade is overturned. Sorry, that's a little tangent, but people are lying about that. Anyway, it is sad that Donald Trump wasn't president when this decision was passed, but he should get credit for getting the ball rolling and finally ending this law. Along with this, we have to celebrate the justices, as when the draft was leaked, there were many protests outside the houses of Supreme Court justices, which, if you are curious, it is still illegal. During this situation, the Supreme Court justices were threatened by a group of radical left-wing protesters. It wasn't just people yelling and chanting outside the House. There were people that actually wanted to kill the Supreme Court justices. Some of you might not have heard of this story because the Washington Post buried it so you couldn't read it. The story is that there was a man from California who took a gun and a knife all the way to Maryland to assassinate Kavanaugh or maybe even kidnap his family. According to the investigation, the man got to Kavanaugh's house and called the police to turn himself in. In that phone call, he claimed that he was angry about the leaked Roe v. Wade draft, and he was also angry about the recent shootings that were happening around the country. Now, luckily, Kavanaugh wasn't killed, and this man was captured. But once again, the court was being intimidated by this mob. It could have been easy for Brett Kavanaugh or another justice to say that my family is more important than my job, and I need to keep my family safe. If these people are rioting and getting angry now, what will they do when the decision is actually released, which we will talk about? The justices could have been so scared that they gave into the mob, which is not how the Supreme Court works, which is why it was so bad for the draft to be released, and it is also illegal to protest at Supreme Court justices' houses. It still is illegal, but they weren't intimidated and followed what the Constitution said. Now, I think Clarence Thomas said it best. As he said after the leak of Alito's bill, we can't be an institution that can be bullied into giving you just the outcome you want. To Thomas and these other justices, it didn't matter what the mob did. They knew what was constitutional. And in the Constitution, there is no right for a woman to have an abortion, and no mob was going to stop them from changing Roe v. Wade. Now, this mob has not stopped, as when the Democrats and radical left don't get their way, they have a right to riot because apparently people's rights are being taken away, even though no one has ever had the right to kill their children, ever. The radicals have been planning different events since the draft was leaked, and for when the decision was passed, as there was a group of radicals called Jane's Revenge, which I believe is a domestic terrorist organization. They have already called for a night of rage when Roe v. Wade is overturned, and they have taken responsibility for firebombing crisis pregnancy centers, a place where women can go and get help, and different options that aren't abortion that can help them and their family. Why would you want those to be firebombed and destroyed? Well, because most of these crisis pregnancy centers are Christian and don't believe that abortion is the best option. I mean, how dare they? Here's a picture of the outside of a building where someone spray painted on the wall, "Jane was here." And there was another wall that was spray painted, and it said, "If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either." Then there was another pregnancy center in North Carolina where there is red paint all over the building, and right in the front it says, "If abortions aren't safe, then neither are you." There was even a pregnancy center in Michigan that was also firebombed, and their windows were smashed in. Jane's Revenge has taken credit for this. And the sad thing is that this is happening all over America. Here's one from Minnesota with spray painting that says, "Abortion is liberation," which I don't think is true. Here's one in Seattle that had the same line of, "If abortion isn't safe, then neither are you." All these pregnancy centers are getting attacked because they have the audacity to tell women that there are other options out of pregnancy besides abortion. They are making threats to these pregnancy centers that are actually trying to help women that are pregnant. And the fact of the matter is that since Roe v. Wade is being overturned, pregnancy centers might be the only place that women have to help them through their pregnancy. You want that taken away from these women? You want these places firebombed because you want these women to kill their babies? That's disgusting. You are attacking women and places for women, but saying you are doing it to defend women. That makes no sense. I really wish that the DOJ would do something about Jane's Revenge and classify them as a terrorist organization. If the people that stormed the Capitol are terrorists, which I think they are, then these people should be labeled as terrorists as well. The violence just doesn't seem to stop, as recently, the Department of Homeland Security warned in an intelligence brief that domestic terrorists could launch attacks. As the DHS said, domestic violent extremists, also known as DEVs, will likely exploit the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade to intensify violence against a wide range of targets. DHS also said, "We expect violence could occur for weeks following the release, particularly as DVEs may be mobilized to respond to changes in state laws and ballot measures on abortion stemming from the decision. We base this assessment on an observed increase in violent incidents across the United States following the unauthorized disclosure in May of a draft majority opinion on the case," which we just talked about. Those are all the firebombings that are happening, and they're saying that things are just going to get worse. They knew that these radical leftists were going to be violent before and after the decision of Roe v. Wade was sent down. And we are seeing that right before our very eyes. As the DHS said once again, both reproductive and family advocacy centers likely will continue to remain primary targets for criminal incidents, and violence could escalate against these facilities or personal. The report continued by saying faith-based organizations across the U.S. continue to report numerous criminal incidents against religious institutions connected to abortion rights. We are aware of at least 11 incidents of vandalism, threatening violence, targeting religious facilities perceived as being opposed to abortion, and one threat to bomb and burn a church in New York. These incidents of vandalism against faith-based organizations could indicate future targets of DEV's attacks. Now, all of this violence and future violence isn't just happening on the streets of our country, but the violence has also started on the leftist utopia called Twitter. As there was a leftist on Twitter, he has a blue check mark, so I think I can show his name. He was posting all sorts of violence against the Supreme Court. Here he posted a picture of a Molotov cocktail, claiming that it was a ballot, and the Supreme Court was the ballot box, basically calling for the Supreme Court to be burned. In another tweet, he wrote, "Violence is a legitimate and appropriate response to oppression." He continued by saying, "The suffragettes planted bombs. Queer people threw bricks. Violence has always been a necessary and important part of social justice." Then, once again, people were publishing the home addresses of these Supreme Court justices, and there are a plethora of tweets from people saying that they want to assassinate and kill Supreme Court justices. Here are a few of those. The worst one of them all came from this Twitter user, as they said every member of the Supreme Court who just allowed Roe v. Wade to be overturned should be pulled out of their chambers and shot in the effing street. Gun them MFers down. They failed every woman we know. Burn them in their effing homes. This sounds like the most peaceful thing anyone could write on Twitter. And guess what? That account has not been banned on Twitter at all. And then we have politicians and political pundits going to the streets and getting angry at the Supreme Court. We will get to them in a minute, but in a grand speech, Joe Biden said, "The courts have done what it has never done before, especially expressly take away a constitutional right that is so fundamental to many Americans that have had already been recognized." Luckily for Joe Biden, we still don't have a court that has taken away a constitutional right. This case proved to us that abortion is not a constitutional right, meaning no rights are being taken away. Then we had AOC on the streets claiming that the Supreme Court was illegitimate and that we need to go to the streets. Here she is saying that.
Illegitimate! This decision! Illegitimate! This decision! Illegitimate! Into the streets! 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 Into the streets!
Isn't this a call to violence? Isn't this a call for insurrection, maybe? Along with this, Maxine Waters had the same opinion, saying, "You haven't seen anything yet, and to hell with the Supreme Court." Isn't that creating distrust in our institutions? Isn't that calling for violence? Isn't that an attack on our democracy, that you are attacking a branch of our government? Apparently not. Here's Maxine Waters saying that.
You see this turnout here? You ain't seen nothing yet. Women are going to control their bodies no matter how they try and stop us. The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them women will be in control of their bodies. And if they think black women are intimidated or afraid, they got another thought coming. Black women will be out in droves. We will be out by the thousands. We will be out by the millions. We're going to make sure we fight for the right to control our own bodies. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
These people, these terrible, evil, radical leftists, get to be the ones that can run around and do whatever they want. They can light whatever they want on fire, and the DOJ will just be like, oh, that's fine, that's understandable, please burn more stuff. And then we have just the stupidest takes, like this one from Ana Navarro, who claims to be a Republican, but we all know that she isn't. Here's what she had to say.
I am not anybody to tell you what you need to do with your life or with your uterus. And because I have a family with a lot of special needs kids, I have a brother who's 57 and has the mental and motor skills of a 1-year-old. And I know what that means financially, emotionally, physically for a family. And I know not all families can do it. And I have a step-granddaughter who was born with Down syndrome. And you know what? It is very difficult in Florida to get services. It is not as easy as it sounds on paper. And I've got another step-grandson who is very autistic, who has autism, and it is incredible. And their mothers and people who are in that society, who are in that community, will tell you that they've considered suicide because that's how difficult it is to get help, because that's how lonely they feel, because they can't get other jobs, because they have financial issues, because the care that they're able to give their other children suffers. And so why can I be Catholic and still think this is a wrong decision? Because I'm American. I'm Catholic inside the church. I'm Catholic when it comes to me. But there's a lot of Americans who are not Catholic and are not Christian and are not Baptist. And you have no damn right to tell them what they should do with their bodies. Nobody does.
Oh, wow. I love my special needs brother so much, but I just wish that he would have been murdered in the womb. Do you understand how twisted that is? It reminds me of how in Iceland or Greenland, I can't remember, thanks Vikings, they were saying that they ended Down syndrome. It was a huge story. They were so excited about it. How did they end it? Well, they aborted children that had Down syndrome. And if you know a person with Down syndrome, you know that they bring so much joy to a family. But this isn't just about special needs kids. This is about babies that are in the womb that deserve to have a right to life. And this is why people are getting so angry and they're running in the streets and they're going crazy because they believe that they have a right to kill their babies for any reason at any time. Safe, legal, and rare is out the window. It is now abortion on demand, no matter what. Whether you've been pregnant for 5 months, 8 months, or 9 months. You can hear it in their chants. One of these chants is abortion on demand and without apology. Without this basic right, women can't be free. This chant is wrong on so many levels. And it shows that these people have fallen for the lies. And it creates a foundation of lies for the abortion argument. Because here's the thing, the media is trying to manipulate this Roe v. Wade decision and make lies, terrible, horrible lies. For example, you will hear the lie of, well, Roe v. Wade is overturned. That means that abortion is banned all over the country. Nope, that's not true. There are still plenty of states that will offer abortions, and some states where laws will be more strict, and that's how our country has worked for a very long time. Texas can't tell New York what to do, and vice versa. There are people right now protesting in New York. They're protesting in Chicago and in LA and in California. And those states aren't going to change their abortion laws. They're going to get more liberal. Another lie that people have been spreading is, oh, this is just the beginning. They're going to ban contraception and gay marriage. Well, did you read the decision? It's a long section, but here's a part of it. Unable to show concrete reliance on Roe and Casey themselves, the Solicitor General suggests that overruling those decisions would threaten the court's precedents, holding that the Due Process Clause protects other rights. Brief for the United States 26, citing Obergefell, which was the Supreme Court decision on gay marriage, Lawrence, which are anti-sodomy laws, and Griswold, which dwelt with contraception. That is not correct for reasons we have already discussed. as even the Casey plurality recognized abortion is a unique act because it terminates life or potential life. So right there in that section, they're saying that Obergefell, Lawrence, and Griswold have nothing to do with the abortion issue. But it continues. And to ensure that our decision is not misunderstood or mischaracterized, we emphasize that our decision concerns the constitutional right to abortion and no other right. Nothing in this opinion should be understood to cast doubt or precedents that do not concern abortion, meaning that this decision has nothing to do with gay marriage, contraception, or anything else. It has everything to do with abortion because abortion was different than those other cases. I know there will be people out there that will say, but Clarence Thomas said this or that. He is just one Supreme Court justice. And if, for example, Obergefell, which made gay marriage the law of the land, was overturned, it would go back to the states just like Roe v. Wade is doing right now. It would not ban gay marriage, just like how this ruling didn't ban abortion. Nor am I saying that I want Obergefell overturned. I'm just trying to let you understand that you are being lied to when they're saying these different things. Another lie people will spread is that women are losing their rights, and soon they will become second-class citizens. This isn't true. Women have many options when it comes to having a baby. They have contraceptives, or Plan B. They can get condoms. Both men and women can be smarter about who they mate with so then they don't end up in a situation where they are pregnant. There needs to be more accountability. I'm sorry, but you, meaning both men and women, can't sleep with everything that moves. If you sleep with someone, there's a high likelihood that they could get pregnant if you're not using protection or contraception. It's not like you're going to get a flat screen TV. And when we are talking about rights being taken away and rights being stripped from people, there is one person whose rights we are not mentioning, and that is the right of the baby in the womb. They are human beings. No matter how many times you lied to me and say that they are just a clump of cells, they are human, and they deserve a chance at life. This is why overturning Roe v. Wade was so important. It gives states the right to say that unborn humans have a right to live, and this is why we should be celebrating. So in the end, I encourage you to ignore these lies. Ignore the memes. Read up on the laws in your state. And if you hate those laws and want those laws to be changed, then go out and vote for a different representative that can change the law. Because that's how our government works. That's how federalism works. And hopefully soon this whole thing will pass and soon we will forget about it. Because the Democrats are already planning on using this for the 2022 midterms and also the 2024 presidential election. Okay, I'm going to vote for a party that wants to kill babies. Great idea, guys. Anyway, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.